So Marcus Rashford completed his loan move to Barcelona, and honestly, I love it. I love it for both sides. Both sides being Rashford and Barcelona. We'll get to Man United later on. But from Barcelona's point of view, I think this is a very low risk, high reward type of move. I mean, on one hand, you get a player that he has all the attributes to excel in this kind of system and really be a weapon that they can use and make the team better. On the other hand, if things don't work out, whatever. He's on loan. You've already won the league without him. You've shown that you're a world-class team without him already. It's not like the success of Barcelona hinges on Marcus Rashford playing at his very best, right? For Rashford, on Rashford's side of things, this is a clean slate, brother. This is kind of a last chance, big loan move, where you can go improve yourself. He's 27 years old now. It's crazy. Football flies fast, right? Last year he was just 18 years old, wonder kid coming onto the scene, banging in goals, England's next hope, United's next hope, everything like that. And then fast forward to today where this is where we are. And obviously, the last few seasons or so, it's just kind of been on a downhill trajectory. But I think to give him his credit, he's coming in with the right attitude. I think he's been quite vocal about it beforehand, about being willing to play up top, to play on the left, to play alongside someone like Nico Williams back when that was still on the go. And another thing I want to get into, I don't like how I'm seeing people say that he didn't deserve the move. Um, if Barcelona wants you, you deserve the move. I don't really understand where this is coming from. Like, I get it. Nico Williams kind of gave Barcelona the bird and just used them as leverage to get a bigger contract from Bilbao. And Luis Diaz obviously was too expensive for them at the end of the day. And I guess Rashford's the third player on their list. And they landed that. And like I said, low risk, higher move for them. And for Rashford, I think he's coming in with the right mentality around all of it. I think he has all the tools to succeed in this system. I feel like he's obviously great on the ball. He can beat his man down the wing. He can finish. I think he adds a different dimension to Barcelona's game. If you look at their front three of the past or of last season, where it's Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Yamal, all three of them seem to me as like kind of half space players where they like to get the ball into feet, they like to check into the pockets, get the ball at their feet, and then do their damage. Not They don't really have too many options in the team that have the ability to get in behind back lines and make those kind of runs. Maybe it's because of the pace, maybe it's because of whatever the case may be. But Rashford brings that dimension to Barcelona's game that is really going to mess up the game plans for a lot of these teams that they're going to face, right? If you have guys that are so good on the ball that can play in tight areas, and then you have one player that can bomb it down the wing to unlock everything, that's dangerous. You know what I mean? That's dangerous for any team to go up against. Now, I think the one thing for Marcus Rashford that hinges like the difference between Marcus Rashford having a good season and a great season with Barcelona and could be the deciding factor on if Barcelona decide to turn this loan move into a permanent deal is his ability to press. Right? Barcelona's Hansi Flick has proven in two different teams now that he's a world-class manager, and he has Barcelona drilled to a T. This team is a high pressing team. They are so organized, and if one player is not pulling their weight without the ball, like while they don't have the ball, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb, and then now you're gonna be public enemy number one all over again in Barcelona, right? I think when you watch Marcus Rashford his last few seasons or so with United, you would see that, I guess you want to call it quote unquote like a diva side in him, or I think it's just laziness, where it looks like he just checks out and he just is just kind of going through the motions, not really pressing, just kind of half-ass jogging over there and whatever. Just doesn't look good, not doing himself any favors, not doing the club any favors, anything like that. He has to eliminate that if he's going to Barcelona. He has to get rid of that element of his game. And like I said, I think Rashford is coming in with the right mindset. I think he understands that this is kind of that last chance kind of move for him to make something of his career still. So I feel like he'll be extra motivated to be going all out in pressing and this and the third, whatever he can do to make sure he fits in with Hansi Flick's system. Because Hansi Flick, he showed it already. He's made players so much better. He did it with Serge Gnabry. Serge Gnabry, when Flick was the manager of Bayern, he made him look like one of the best wingers in the world. You fast forward to today and you watch Gnabry play. Oh my goodness, that brother! I don't want to be disrespectful, but you know what I mean? He's almost on his way out of there. I don't know. He helped revive Lewandowski's career because obviously Lewandowski, when he came from Bayern, he obviously wasn't himself as much, right? He's not the 50 goal scorer, and he's still not going to be there. That's not fair to assume because that was obviously the prime years. But he's made Lewandowski look a lot better under him. Obviously, Yamal's there and he's doing his thing. I'm not going to say that Flick has nothing to do with Yamal being one of the best players in the world right now. Rafinha is damn near a Ballon d'Or candidate. So Flick knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? And I feel like he can do the same type of thing with Rashford and really revive his career. Um, the third party in all this, Manchester United. Listen to me when I'm saying this. Manchester United need to hold their hands up and take some accountability for what went down with Rashford's tenure at Manchester United. Because the truth of the matter is, this isn't just Marcus Rashford, right? It's Marcus Rashford, it's Anthony Martial, it's Paul Pogba, it's Donny van de Beek, all these guys that have come into the squad with all this hype, all this potential, all this talent, for them to come into the club and every single one of them underachieve or can't find their footing or kind of just crash out from the club. You're the common denominator in all of that. Okay? I don't want to get too far into it because that's not the point of this video, but Paul Pogba is the worst one for me. You took a guy that was in the World 11 at the time with Juventus when he was younger. One of the most talented midfielders in the world, possibly ever. Genuinely one of the most talented midfielders ever. I don't think anyone can deny that. And you brought him into your club. Well, brought him back because obviously he was an academy project. Brought him back into the club, and he was never able to replicate the same success he had with Juventus in that first stint, nor was he able to replicate the success he had with the national team. The national team is what made it so much worse because whenever a man goes on international duty and you see him in a different system and you see him thriving and playing at his very, very best, and then you see him at the club and he's not doing anything because of that, the system is wrong. You have to understand. And I'm not saying that the clubs need to change your system for the player, but you have to understand what systems work for certain players, certain key players specifically. And if you're not willing to adapt to those types of systems for this player, let him go. Then let him go and let him be a state, let him be great. Okay, because that's got to be the worst one. You took an all-time midfielder and destroyed his career. Absolutely destroyed it. And I'm not saying that's the same case with Rashford, with Martial, with Van de Beek. Obviously, there's different factors and everything, but United needs to take accountability on the amount of players that have come into this club with all this talent and have underachieved. As fans, how can we be sure that what happened to those guys isn't going to happen with Cunha, who they just brought in, with Mbeumo, who just came in, Diallo, Xerxes, Lenny Yoro, all these different guys, all these young studs that we have, Kobe Menu, all these young guys that we have all this potential. How can we be sure that those guys are actually going to reach their potential? Because from the outside looking in, obviously I'm not in Carrington. I'm not in the boardrooms. I don't know anything like that. It just seems to me like they're not giving these guys the right pathway to be successful, if that makes sense. I think that was very much the case, not to bring it back again, but I feel that that was very much the case with Pogba. I think with Rashford, it's a similar deal. Obviously, Martial is kind of a bit of a weird one. All the injuries kind of derailed him, but then even then, I'm looking at the physio staff, and it's like, okay, well, if the man's telling you he's good, but he comes back the first game and does his hamstring again, what are we doing? Right? Hold the man out. Wait, what's going on? Um, yeah, I feel like Manchester United really have to take a look in the mirror and really reevaluate because, like I said earlier in the video, Marcus Rashford at one point was supposed to be the golden boy. He was the prince, right? To take over, to be, United's next top goal scorer, all-time goal scorer, and the next United icon and everything like that. He had everything to be a Man United legend. And you fast forward to today and you see how that relationship is practically done, right? It's practically done. He's always wanted to be a United player. Um, the fans turned on him, or he just became, in all, very polarizing figure within the club, where certain fans were bashing him and just had zero time for him anymore. And then on the other side, you had fans that were his biggest supporters. I think I'm on that side. I'll always be a Rashford fan, always. Um, but yeah, United really needs to take a look at what they're doing and make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't happen again because we're getting into that place, man, where we're losing the sauce. We're losing the sauce, all right? All this like, oh, United was a big club, this and the third. The players coming up today don't remember United being a good team. They remember at best United under like David Moyes. That's what the young players today are remembering when they come to this club.